How's the overhead like? Too much? Enough?
A little lower.
Like a fiction.
That's good, thank you. Hello everybody, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Thank
Hello.
you.
How is everybody, good?
Good.
If you're not, you're gonna be afterwards. Okay, tonight we have a special guest. Tina, she's gonna go through her book Of the Line of Trioche, Breaking the Power of the Entity. So she's gonna go through a little bit about her book. She said you were gonna discuss a particular chapter, so I'll let her go into detail, because I don't wanna, feng shui her way. But first, before we do that, if everybody would go ahead and bow their head in prayer and join me in prayer. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and just let it out so we can relax into our prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Source Creator, we come together today in this evening to share in energy, to share in comfort, and to share in love, growth, and healing. We ask that you bless our hearts and our minds to correlate all the things so that we may walk our daily lives in the essence of your will and ours. And so it is.
So it is.
Okay, now Tina, if you would go ahead and approach the bench, the pit.
Sound like a judge.
I was just saying the same thing. I was just thinking that. Poor lady came here to get judged.
Well, it's a privilege to be with you tonight. And my name is Reverend Tina Tricoci. Most people have a difficult time with my last name.
I'm sorry.
You did good. This is my book. It's Of the Line of Tricoci, Breaking the Power of the Entity. I do have some on sale today for $15 here at the table. If anyone is interested afterward. It is for the deep thinker. So if you feel drawn toward it, I'm more than happy to give you revelations through the reading of my book. Now, I wanted to focus particularly on the miracle worker, which is a subsection of chapter 16 in my book. So I'm going to read that small subsection first, and then I'll go into that a little bit more deeper. Miracle workers are being established throughout the planet at this time. There is an awakening that is occurring wherein people are remembering or realizing that the power to produce miracles and change lies within at its inner being. That is where divine power generates and produces itself. It has long been felt the connection to our source lies at the crown center, but I say to you, the highest connective power, the universal power, lies within the solar plexus. The crown is there to serve the self, both lower and higher. It ties in with thought and reason because it is connected at the brain center, and thought divides. Each lower self has a mastery it is undergoing. Each higher self has multiple masteries it has or attempted to undergo and is presently undergoing through its present lower seat. Each lower expansion is unique and distinctive and impacts the evolution of the higher realms. Because the crown is located at the brain center, the center of thought, which divides, some are so very certain that their higher truth or their hearing is from God, and so they are certain of this feeling and the subsequent manifestations that they enter into this belief that their truth is the only real truth. And they say, but I feel it so I know it's so. But I say to you, the universal and highest truth lies in the solar plexus, where there is no dispensing of words and no division. You are driven by instinct and not by thought. It is the dispensing of instinct, understanding, and inner knowing. Words and language create limitations because a word and its language are forms of limitation. And while the solar plexus is indeed a place for discerning what is right or wrong for you, it is not a place for judgment casting. That is the job of thought, which is to push expansion through contrast, desire, and storytelling. If you make a request out or send an instruction out to the cosmos, you're actually submitting it to the solar plexus. You're submitting it inward, not outward. The power lies within. If the answer that returns comes in through your solar plexus that it is granted, it is your responsibility to not cancel your own assignment out by casting doubt into and over it. People are the instrument, the creator, the caster, and the receiver. Now, miracle workers are being established at this time under every religious frequency, both the major and the minors. They will be found dispensed through the broken medical system. They will be found among the atheist and agnostic who believe man alone is solely responsible for its own needed miracle. They will be found among the wealthy and the poor, the high and the humble, the educated and the simpleton. They will be birthed out of the unpopular or non-conformity so that they may learn how to stand alone. They will have been trained in the field of misunderstandings, struggle, rejection, abandonment, and exclusion in order to learn how to manage the emotionality scale as an instrument of his or her friendship and not foe, in order to learn how to harness self-belief and self-love. They will train their capabilities from within the silence of shadows in order to protect their field from the negative and the doubt castings, no matter how well-intended of others, until such time as their field of miracles becomes a powerful, dominant, creative force. And then those beings no longer will have power over them. Do not assault the ego of the miracle worker. It is for them to determine their own relationship with their own sense of awesomeness. We have to allow the miracle to push its way in. It requires man to acknowledge the power of the inner being in all humans and honor the notion that this inner being is fully capable of handling the journey of the individual in which it occupies. It never casts doubt into us, nor judgment, nor finger pointing. Rather, it spreads awareness so that the self can expand as it is ready, in its time, and until such time that is right for that individual. You do not know what has transpired in their former lives, the evolution of that self. You do not know what that self has been subjected to or mastering in this present life, nor the direction that self is moving in. You can only know your own path. Do not assault the ego of the miracle worker, because each is occupying the seat of the human, and we are all under the contract of contrast and imperfection and individual masteries. Honor this, and let that miracle push its way through. That miracle worker may not be in your frequency. It may not be your miracle worker, but it belongs in a pocket somewhere. It's needed somewhere. So when someone says to you, I can, hold that vibration in honor, and the honor will return itself back upon you in its time. The Doubtcaster. Do not choose to be a Doubtcaster. Doubt has been taught for so many generations. It has become a part of everyone's DNA manual, a propensity which is transgenerationally passed down. While the code will remain with you, it can be deactivated if you practice a new dominant vibration, which is a new habitual belief that gets programmed into the subconscious. Tell yourself regularly, I will not doubt. There's no need for it. Eventually, your body will adapt to the new instruction. It's also important to understand we have grown accustomed to doubt ourselves, doubting others, and telling others that they should doubt themselves. The inner being never treats its individual in that way. It brings awareness in so that the individual can expand when it is ready to enter into that relevant expansion. But the inner being does not tell you to doubt yourself. You are a source of divine light. You're here to create. You knew there would be contrast. You signed up for that. The contrast is there to push our expansion. We're always in a state of expanding. If you recognize that each person has an inner being, if you decide you will honor the inner being of another, is able to handle his job much better than you, and if you acknowledge that each individual has its own distinctive and unique path that it is traveling, then you will understand that you only know your own path and will then handle any relevant contrast with that person in a better way, in a way that does not lead you to try to convince the other person that they should doubt themselves in order to line up to you. You line up to you, and you let that person line up to his or herself until they are ready to change. If they are ready for change, they'll let you know. It wouldn't be while they're having a casual conversation about their life or themselves and they're in a feel-good place. If they're in a feel-good place, mind your own business. That's your indication that it's not the time to be finger-pointing or trying to fix someone. If they are saying they can, keep your negativity and limiting thoughts to yourself. Your gift of wisdom will return to you. Wisdom is in the silence in such circumstance, and not in the practice of being a doubt caster onto the planet. Understand that the cosmos is validating you, so choose to invoke a better story and let that person believe in his or herself. Doubt casters will appear to tell you that you can't, but I'm here to tell you that you can. And when you learn to ignore the doubt caster, you will deactivate their appearing in your life, or you won't notice them much, if at all, not enough to get a vibrational response out of you. And then miracles will have no choice but to manifest. So that was 2 subsections in chapter 18 in my book. There are 2 fundamental truths about us here as humans and the role of humans. We're either in a state of creating or we're in a state of allowing. Okay. Our emotionality scale is the greatest indicator of whether we're in a state of creating or whether we're in a state of allowing. The state of allowing is the state of receiving. The state of creating is the state of asking. Okay. We ask, the cosmos answers with an affirmative. It always answers with an affirmative. It always says, yes, we will, we can, we want to. Okay. The mere fact that you have that desire is an indication that the answers already exist and it's already on the way and it's already been granted. Or you wouldn't have that desire. It wouldn't be in your mind, you wouldn't be vibrating it. You wouldn't be feeling it, you wouldn't be longing for it. So the fact that you have these things is an indication the answer is already on the way and it's already been granted. What holds it back is when we don't allow ourselves to be in the receiving mode. Okay? Being in the receiving mode is easiest when you're in the neutral emotional states and upward. Joy and appreciation are the highest levels, okay, and gratitude. So it's joy, love, and gratitude, appreciation are the highest vibrational states that you can be in. Okay, if you're anything under the neutral states, then you are disconnecting from your source. And we like to say what's wrong with us, but the reality is we didn't come to be fixed. We're not broke. We don't need to be saved. We don't need to be fixed. We knew there would be contrast. So that's what pushes us to without the contrast, you don't have clarity as to what it is you want for yourself and all that is. Okay, that's what's pushing our expansion. That's what's pushing the expansion of all that is. That's our main job is to create. So when the contrast comes, understand it's there to serve you. It's not your enemy. Okay, if you keep assigning it, you're my enemy, you're my enemy, you're my enemy, then that's the role it's going to be in your particular life. Okay, or you can say the contrast is here to serve me. It's not my enemy. The contrast is here to serve me. The more you get adjusted to responding in that way, having that type of vibrational relationship when it appears, the less often it'll come, the less intensity it'll have in your experience. Okay, and it'll stay a lot shorter. Because we only want it in our life long enough to push out our desires to the cosmos to say, this is what I want. And then when we switch into the higher vibrational states, that's the receiving mode, that's the allowing mode, then we can let it in. When we're in the higher vibrational states, we're connected with our source. That's when it can come in. When you're in the lower vibrational states, that's when you're disconnected from your source, then it can't come in. Okay, so it's it's either sending off or it's receiving it. You're always in one of those states. And the state of the contrast and the creating is not wrong. It's a matter of your relationship and how you are learning how to master your emotionality scale. That's what we're doing. We're learning how to manage our emotionality scale. So you get angry, it's not your enemy. It's only your enemy if you decide anger is my enemy and you decide to stay there for longer than you need to, or you start behaviors that are destructive for you and others, then that's a bad thing. But if you understand it's there to show you that you have stepped out of alignment with source, and it's showing you what it is you do want for yourself and for the planet, we send the instruction out and then we understand, we have the state of knowing. The answer is yes. The only thing that stops that from coming in is we get doubt and we get stuck in those lower emotional states, and we cast judgment on others, we cast judgment on ourselves, and we just don't believe. Okay? Our beliefs limit our ability as master creators. Okay? They are there to keep us, to keep limitations on us. That's why we have these belief systems. They keep caps on us. We all have them. No one is excluded from them. But the bottom line is, every person here has unlimited creative potential within them. They have unlimited source energy within them. No one is an exception. So the only thing that's stopping you from unleashing miraculous power is you don't believe you can. You believe it's out there somewhere, or you believe it's the job of someone else, or you believe, well, I'm not being humble if I believe that. And you don't want humility to become your enemy and to cause limitations of the power of the divine within you. Okay, we have the power to do miraculous things and greater. Okay, Jesus said there's going to come a time when people are going to do even greater things than me, and that's so hard for people to understand, because they don't want to recognize that the power of the divine is within them. They're too busy listening to the doubt casters, and they're too busy listening to the old religious minds that served their wonderful purpose in its time. But what would happen if we never updated our phones, we never updated our TVs, we never updated our cars, right? We never updated our technology. That'd be a sad thing. It's the same thing. We're all evolving. Thought is evolving. The only thing that remains unchanged is vibrational states. Vibrational states were there in the beginning. They're going to be exactly the same thing in the end of our existence, our mind and our body. Okay, but thought is evolving just like we are, just like our universe and everything we see. Okay, so you have to always remember, I have beliefs. I cannot get away from beliefs, right? But I can stretch them. I can challenge them. I can change them. If I have beliefs that are causing me harm, socially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I have the power to change them. If it means I have to change relationships, I'll do it. If it means I have to change my spiritual practice, I'll do it. But everyone here has the power to change their conditioning. It's a matter of reprogramming your mind. What you do is you reprogram yourselves, right? When you reprogram yourselves, what you're doing is you're changing your vibrational output. Now, we've always been taught the only thing that matters is matter, science, but now science has switched over to quantum physics, which says all that exists is energy before it's ever matter, and it will return back to energy. So medicine is now switching over to the concept of energy. It's now accepting some of the spiritual ideologies that entered into a divide at the time of Newton. They're now coming back in together. So we're going to be seeing some major changes in medicine where they understand we have to look at us from the standpoint of energy and thought, beliefs and thought. So if a person's spiritual, one of the ways to heal them is by looking at their religion. If a person is not spiritual, not religious, they have to look at what are they believing in? What are they believing in? How can they change their thoughts? Okay? Because at the end of the day, it has such powerful relevance to our healing and our ability to manifest. Now, when I started out as a Christian, and I was a Bible thumper, and actually I began as a Catholic, and then I became a Protestant Christian. And when I became a Protestant Christian and obviously a Catholic, we had the big beliefs in the devils and sin and Satan and get behind me Satan and things like that. And so we were always, my tribe, my frequency, the people that I was with, we were always seeing devils everywhere and explaining everything was evil. And, that was our explanation for everything. And it felt right because that was our frequency. That was our journey. That was our tribe. It was right for us at the time. It was right for me at that time. But I understood that stuff that was assaulting me, that I was giving it that power because I was believing in it. I was assigning it power. So then I converted over to metaphysics. And I started dealing with Caspers. It just completely radically changed. It was all Caspers. So, and that left me. And everything was soft. And I'm like, wow, with all these different religions I have journeyed through, this metaphysics is definitely the softest, more gentle, most nicest one. It has its problems like they all do. But I'm like, I'm really digging the metaphysics one. It's nice. But then a Catholic man, I was attending a spiritualistic church, and a Catholic man showed up, and he said, I can't get help from the Catholic Church, and I'm willing to try any and everything that might help me, because the thing is assaulting me physically, it's moving things in the house, it's tormenting me mentally, emotionally, and I don't know what to do. I have no power, and anything that'll help me, I'm willing to try it. So the pastor of that church said, well, I will meet with the board members next board meeting, and we'll discuss it, and I'll get back with you. Well, he went back a week or two later, and he saw me there, and he said, I hear you're a legal professional, and this thing with this entity that's taken over my house has destroyed my relationship, and I need help with dissolving our assets and helping us to go our own separate ways. So I went on the basis as a legal professional, and yes, I was a board member there, but we did not have that board meeting. And when I went there, I was assaulted. Much to my surprise, it did take physical possession on my body where I couldn't move, the dog couldn't move, the man was in torment, like just right out of a horror movie. Literally, I was like, I can't believe it. I'm being casted in this live horror movie, real time, right? Reeling over and begging, please help me, and I couldn't move, I couldn't help him. And so I had to make sure that I didn't fall into fear, and to remember that if I stay in alignment with myself, one or two things can happen. If you stay in alignment with yourself, the other person, circumstance, situation either must adjust into alignment with you, or it must leave your experience. There's no other way around it. So the only other option here is you line up to it. And I was not going to line up to his reality and his story. I got sucked into it, but just for temporary, because I understood. If I'm the dominant vibration of my own self, then this thing can no longer have power over me. So with some time, I was able to get movement back. I was able to get my vocals back. And then I assumed authority over the house, because once I became the dominant authority, the dominant power over it, then I assumed the authority over the entire house. So I broke the power over the house. This goes real deep into that. So people look at it and they think it's a Christian book, or it's, it really is not your typical book, because it's a metaphysical approach to a Catholic man's experience. So I think people from different frequencies will get something from it. So that's it in a nutshell. I just wanted to entertain maybe one question, if anyone has like a question, because I'm running out of time. Does anyone have a question on anything? Because I know I went pretty quick.
I just want to say something. That it's amazing. I loved your talk.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, meditation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Do you know how to dim the light?
No.
I can help you. Just
Oh. If you would close your eyes. If you would close your eyes and relax your body. We are requesting the cosmos to provide wisdom to each and every person in this room. High-level wisdom. We ask that the wisdom infuse each and every cell in their bodies. Grant us wisdom to no longer finger point, cast doubt and judgment into others. Help us to understand it's not our job to fix people. Inner being exists within each and every one of us, which means we are all miraculous. We all are miracle workers. We possess that DNA. We possess that capability. We are amazing. We are wonderful. We're chosen, or we would not be listening to this right now. We would not be granted this understanding. In our own way, we are being led to a higher level of spiritual achievement, emotional control and balance. In our own way, we are becoming advanced as master creators in this time-space reality. Now, while others may see us and see nothing, we know we are so much more than we're aware, because you're inside us. And the fact that you will look upon us in this way, we are so grateful. We are so honored. We have great humility, but we understand our greatness, and we won't hold that greatness back to appease the insecurity of others. We will employ our greatness and our capability to manifest and our capability to produce miracles with wisdom and balance, good intention. We want to create positive change on the planet. We understand that we're also impacting higher dimensions. We're impacting the angelic dimension and the spirit dimension. We understand that we're no small potatoes, and we're no longer going to choose to cast ourselves in that role. We are becoming aware because the power of our heart is great. We are becoming aware because we love authentically. We care about the well-being of the planet. We want to enjoy our journeys. This does not mean sacrifice. It doesn't mean we're going to have more challenge. On the contrary, a beautiful life is unfolding for us, far greater than anything that we have been imagining or expecting, because we are now changing our expectation. We're not going to try and fix people. We're going to work on ourselves. And as we work on ourselves, we will continue to draw to us the right people, those that are in harmony with our being. It's not about who's right or wrong. Love is unconditional. This unconditional love is pouring through each and every person in this room. We're all here by divine appointment. No one is an exception tonight. And how wonderful it is to know that great things lie ahead for us, through us, because of us, because you have chosen to flow through our being. Help us to reach where we should reach. Help us to let go where we should let go. Old, outdated beliefs, let those fall off. Beliefs that were in beautiful service to us but no longer are, help us to understand so that we are not holding on to an old chapter when it's time for us to enter the new. Detach from us the negative naysayer and the doubt caster. We surround them with love, and our higher light honors their higher light. We lift them up. But we have self-love and self-alignment and self-awareness and self-knowing enough to know that when the doubtcaster appears, we have to detach from them. Help us to be the example that we should be, and to love ourselves through the contrast and our imperfections. We're not going to make that go away in our role as human. Help us to understand this better so that we can love ourselves just a little bit more and appreciate every day just a little bit more. If there be any sickness in this room, we're asking the cosmos to lift it off of the body, the energy field, the mind field. We want to transform it into a state of wellness, thriving health. We want to have fun. We want laughter, not labor. We want celebration. We want endearing relationships with people who understand and respect us and harmonious with our being. And while the opposite may appear, grant us the wisdom to know how to manage. We don't have all the answers. We're accepting that. But we have more answers than we understand because we haven't been giving you the credit that you deserve. We haven't been giving ourselves the credit that we deserve. And we are no longer going to cast those assignments over ourselves. We are who we are meant to be, and we want to express gratitude. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be a part of this human experience in this particular time-space reality. What an honor we received by being given this opportunity. And we're grateful, and we stand united in gratitude. And we love you. Our angels that are with us today, we love you unconditionally. The spirits that help us to complete our missions, we love you unconditionally. We appreciate your efforts, even when it doesn't work out the way we want. We love you as we love ourselves, and we acknowledge you here today. May every person here leave with a higher level of wisdom and manifestative ability. My higher light honors your higher light. God bless you.
Thank you, Tina. That was wonderful. Man, that was a really good speech and meditation.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
It was nice to sit back and enjoy it. Okay, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go over our, pretty much what the Temple of Spiritual Awareness represents, what we feel. Okay, so we believe in the freedom of each person to worship their God however they may choose. We believe that there is but one mind, one law, one principle, and one substance in the universe. And I am one with all there is. We believe that giving is receiving without thought of compensation. We believe in the entirety, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. We believe in the spiritual healing of the sick through prayer, meditation, and divine law. We believe in the direct revelation of the truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of man, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling Spirit of God. We believe that humanity's mental states are carried forward and into manifestation and becomes his experience through prayer, meditation, and divine law. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to go ahead and do the healing portion of the service. So any of the healers who'd like to offer their services, please do so. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.